The Russia-Ukraine war is set to complete 500 days this week. After many twists and turns through these 15 months, the war between the two nations is still raging on, taking a heavy toll on lives and livelihood of hundreds of thousands of people. Recently, Russia witnessed a mutiny from its private military, which saw anguished soldiers marching on to Moscow itself. On the other hand, humanitarian efforts like the Ukraine grain deal have taken the spotlight and are arguably doomed to irrelevance. Meanwhile, talks for a ceasefire and peace remain elusive. Both Russia and Ukraine have exchanged accusations of planning at the attack at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine. Russia's State Atomic Energy Corporation has claimed that Ukraine was planning to attack the nuclear plant with drones and tactical missiles on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Ukraine has claimed that Russia had placed explosive devices at the nuclear facility. Both Moscow and Kyiv confirmed that Zaporizhzhia nuclear reactor was disconnected from its main external power transmission. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is one of Europe's biggest nuclear facility and is currently under the Russian control. Russia has said it sees no reasons to allow Ukraine to export grain through the Black Sea after the deal expires on July 17th. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz urged extension of United Nations brokered deal that allows grain from Ukraine to reach the global market. Russia says normalization of Russian supplies of food and fertilizers to world markets under the Russia-UN memorandum has continued to degrade. It has accused Ukraine of destroying a section of a pipeline used to export ammonia. Russian Foreign Ministry also said that most of the Ukrainian exports were going to wealthy countries, contradicting the data provided by the UN and Ukraine. Russian Defense Ministry released a video showing Tu-95 long-range strategic bombers taking off and flying over the sea. As per a statement released by the ministry, two Tu-95M strategic missiles carriers performed a 13-hour flight over the neutral waters of the Bering Sea. This is near the western coast of Alaska. They also added that Su-30SM and Su-35SM fighter jets escorted the bombers. Israeli forces have nearly completed withdrawal from the city of JENIN in the West Bank. The move came after the forces carried out one of the biggest military operations in the West Bank in years. According to Reuters, convoys of Israeli military vehicles were seen leaving JENIN in what appeared to signal an end to an Israeli operation that began there early on Monday. Meanwhile, the Arab League held an emergency meeting to discuss the Israeli onslaught. During the meet, the League expressed that the Palestinian issue has always been at the core of the Arab countries. The League also urged the international community to protect Palestinians from further Israeli aggression. Palestinian militants from the Gaza Strip fired rockets at the Israeli army from the Palestinian city of Jenin. The two-day raid was one of the biggest military operations in the occupied West Bank in over 20 years. Israeli military says a barrel of rockets were fired from the Gaza Strip, which were intercepted by Israeli air defense system. On the other hand, thousands of Palestinians marched through the streets of Jenin in a funeral procession. People participated to mourn the death of the 12 men killed during the Israeli onslaught. Pressure is growing on Japan against releasing the radioactive water from its tsunami-wrecked Fukushima plant into the ocean. after China warned it against going ahead with such a move, asking it to evaluate the alternatives. UN nuclear watchdog has given Japan the green signal after a careful study. After a 2-year review, the International Atomic Energy Agency has said Japan's plans were consistent with global safety standards and would have a negligible radiological impact to people and the environment. The French government came under fire in Parliament over the killing of a 17-year-old by a policeman last week. The left questioned the accountability of the police and their use of firearms. They asked the French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne to rescind a 2017 law about self-defense. Amid this, the government blamed the left for fueling the riots and insinuating all policemen were murderers. The BRICS Sherpa meet begins in South Africa today. India's Sherpa Damu Ravi mentioned the expansion of BRICS in his opening statements. He said India has contributed to certain criteria and general guidelines of BRICS. Foreign ministers of BRICS nations are set to meet on the 20th of July. This meeting is being held to consider expanding the BRICS grouping. The recommendations of this meeting will be taken up at the BRICS summit coming up in August. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries held the opening session of a 2-day meeting in Vienna today. Guests and speakers included energy ministers from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Libya and the UAE, among others. The 8th OPEC conference is being held under the title Towards a Sustainable and Inclusive Energy Transition. The conference is going to examine the current global energy landscape and future prospects in energy transitions. The conference will also discuss market stability, energy security, investment and technology. Schools reopen in India's northeastern state of Manipur after being shut down for 2 months due to ethnic clashes. Earlier, schools had summer vacations till the 30th of May. And the opening was deferred till July after violence hit the state. Manipur children expressed their delight on returning to school and with the teachers and peers. An incident of indiscriminate firing was reported from the Hazari court in the Indian capital of Delhi today. The incident reportedly occurred after a brawl over a parking space and chamber in the court premises. The incident was followed by a major clash between lawyers in the court. The local police soon reached the spot and no casualties were reported from the incident. The national flag of Iran was raised at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Secretariat compound in Beijing as the country became the 9th member of the organization. SCO Secretary General and Iranian ambassador to China participated in the ceremony, marking Iran's full admission to the SCO. The decision to start admitting Iran as a full member of the organization was announced at the 21st meeting of the SCO Council in 2021. During the 22nd meeting of the Council of Heads of State of the SCO held in September 2022 in Samarkand, this is where the leaders of the SCO member states signed a memorandum of obligations on Iran's SCO membership. Mexican Navy seized 2,400 kilos of cocaine in 3 speedboats during an anti-drug operation in the southern Guerrero Pacific coast. The drug seizure occurred after the Mexican Navy tracked one of the speedboats for over 7 hours. The Navy said the crew members fled after becoming aware of the operation against them. Aerial surveillance footage showed people getting off the boats and running towards the mainland. Mexican authorities are set to launch an investigation into the alleged narco boats which import and export drugs from the country. Chile's President Gabriel Boric welcomed his Italian counterpart Sergio Mattarella to Santiago on Tuesday. The leaders signed a memorandum of understanding on matters such as sustainability and diplomacy at their meeting. Both the nations aim to boost ties ahead of a key EU meeting in Brussels later this month. The Community of Latin American and Caribbean States is scheduled to hold talks with the European Union in Brussels to strengthen trade ties among the nations. Meanwhile, China's services sector experienced slower growth in June, according to the Caixin China General Services Manufacturing Index. The index eased to 53.9 from 57.1 in May, but remained above the 50-point mark, indicating expansion. The survey also showed positive signs for export orders, employment, and market confidence, which rebounded for the first time in 5 months. In some weather update, torrential rain has killed at least 15 people in the southwestern Chinese city of Chongqing. The downpour has unleashed devastating floods and deadly mudslides in the recent weeks. Floods in Chongqing have forced thousands to flee their homes. Bridges and buildings are inundated with floodwater. Chinese President Xi Jinping has ordered the authorities at all levels to ensure the safety of people and properties in the affected regions. The Finance and Emergency Management Ministries announced $441 million in emergency funds to aid disaster relief areas, including Chongqing. Pakistan's Lahore city has received the highest amount of rainfall on record today. In just a matter of 7 hours, the city received 291 millimeters of rain. The city has been inundated with water and is experiencing flooding. As for forecasts, Lahore is also expected to face a fresh spell of rainfall around 9 p.m. Meanwhile, Uruguay is suffering its most severe drought in 44 years, following decades without investment in freshwater reservoirs. The reservoir behind Uruguay's largest dam, Paso Severino, is using less than 2% of its capacity. The Santa Lucia River, one of the most important waterways in the nation, supplied fresh water to more than 1.8 million people in the surrounding areas. To cope with the drought, authorities began drawing water instead from nearby rivers, which has high salinity. President Luis Lacalle Pou has said that rain is the only near-term solution to the drought. He has also expressed that the water quality will likely worsen before it improves. Russian emergency services released a video tackling the forest fires in various areas of Russia's Far East. The region is exacerbated by intense heat and lightning storms. The authorities of the Far East have declared a state of emergency. As per reports, more than 110 forest fires were raging across an area of 61,000 hectares. Austria is implementing a new scheme in a model village to combat unemployment called MAGMA. The scheme offers counseling to identifying candidates' strengths and goals, after which the scheme places them in roles in the community or local businesses. The model village, Gramat Neusiedl, currently boasts of zero employment due to the scheme. Residents of this village now feel confident about applying into the job market after being trained in the scheme. Netherlands is set to put a ban on mobile phones, tablets and smartwatches in classrooms from January 1st of next year. This move aims to limit digital distractions during school hours. Devices will only be allowed when they are deemed necessary, such as digital skills lessons, for medical purposes or for people with disabilities. However, the Dutch government has not yet imposed a formal ban, but has said it will do so after measuring progress next year. And sticking with mobile phones, in the near future, WhatsApp may soon allow iPhone users to share high-quality videos. Recently, WhatsApp allowed photos to be shared in HD quality without compressing the size. This is reportedly WhatsApp is now working on a feature to enable sending videos to in HD. The new feature will allow users to simply send high-quality videos. Notably, users will not be able to share the video in its original quality, but the content will definitely showcase improvement.